Hi everyone. So I want to go over the instructional video one more time. I've given you a prompt and I've already given you a video, but I've gotten a lot of questions and I've also seen some things on the proposal assignment and the design plan assignment that have made me want to clarify a few things for you. And I hope this video will make clear what you are going to be graded on and what is expected of you. So I cannot give you really firm constraints on the video for a couple of reasons. Number one, I don't want to take the real world problem out of this. You know, you will have occasions at work in the real world where you know what you need to communicate and you know who you need to communicate it to, but you need to figure out how to communicate it. And that is part of what we're learning here, okay? And so, you know, when we learned about research earlier this semester, the chapter said over and over and over again that you're going to have to do research to do your assignments. This is a good example. You're going to have to do research to figure out what you want to explain to teachers. You have to do research to explain, to decide what programs you want to use to create the video, right? And that's the kind of research that we do in the workplace all the time to get little personal assignments done. And so I want to maintain that, and if I tell you what video you have to use, what you have to explain, I'm taking the realness out of it. Number two, just like I said in the prompt, you guys probably know better than I do what video making programs you can use to make the best video. If I artificially constrain you, I'm also probably going to choose worse technology than you would use on your own. So that is why I am keeping this deliberately broad. However, there are categories that every video should hit, every criteria that every video should hit, and that's what I'm going to grade you on, and that's what I'm going to explain here. Now I'm attaching a rubric to the modules, and that is how you're going to be graded on the final instructional video. There are 10 categories. You can get up to 10 points in each category for a total score of 100%. Okay, so let me briefly go over them. So first of all, you do have to have an introduction to your video, as I've said in the assignment sheet and before. In your introduction, imagine that you create this video and you distribute it at FIU and it gets passed around. You want an introduction that explains to the viewer that what this video is going to be about, what it's going to cover, and what order, introduces yourself and gets us used to hearing your voice, and gets us engaged in the idea of what we're doing here, okay? Then number two, you're going to be graded on the clarity of your instructions. Is it clear what I should be doing and why I should be doing it that way as I'm following along with you, okay? If I get confused, if I get lost, if I'm like, what, or why are we doing that? What does that have to do with that? Then you're going to lose points in the clarity of instructions, right? So when you want to instruct someone on something, the number one thing really is being clear. Related to that, there's a category on visuals. Are the visuals helping me understand? Some of you guys are using screen grabs or screenshots, and some of you guys are doing video screen recordings. Neither one of those is better than the other, to be honest with you, because sometimes the screen grabs are not as good, let's say, as the video of the screen, but the people who are using screen grabs are forced to be clearer with their instructions, whereas people who are doing the video recordings tend to be a little bit lazier with their instructions because they're letting the screen do the work. So you're going to be judged on both the clarity of your verbal instructions, what should I be doing, and the clarity of the video or the images that are helping me understand the two things together. So that's two different categories. You're also going to be graded on what's called engagement. Are you talking in a way that's making me understand and want to listen to you? A lot of you guys attached to the design plan example videos that were visually pleasing, but the videos were like the dry eyes commercial guy. If you've ever seen that commercial where it's like, next you need to move to the right, and like, please do not talk like that in your instructional video. You should be engaging and friendly and professional, and make sure that you're talking to them in a professional way, but in a really friendly and accessible way that's clear and easy to understand and makes us want to keep listening, okay? Then you also are going to be graded on your transitions. As I've said throughout, you are going to have transitions. in your design plan and your proposal, a lot of you guys said you're going to go over multiple things, right? You're going to have an introduction, and then you're going to do an overview, and then you're going to teach them how to do X. Or you're going to have an introduction, then teach them how to do X, and then teach them how to do Y. There needs to be transitions between those chunks, those information. If this was a written document, they would be a completely different section of the instructions, right? But it's not a written document, it's a video. But you need to find a way to break it up, and you need to help the listener understand what are we moving on to next, why are we moving on to it next, that there is a transition happening. And that transition can be, you talking with your face on the screen. It can be some sort of slide that appears that helps us understand that we are moving on to another chunk of information. It can be visually many different things, but it needs to be clear that we're moving on to a different skill or a different task or a different section, and it needs to help the the viewer feel oriented. Right? We don't want to ever be lost. Like, wait, what? What are we talking about now? Why are we talking about that now? We want to always understand what's coming next, how is it coming, blah, blah, blah. Which is related to the next category, which is organization. So it should never feel confusing why you did something in a specific order. And you don't want your viewer to think, man, I wish I had learned step 9 before step 7. That would have been a lot clearer. So you are going to be graded on organization. Does everything come in an order that makes complete sense? Okay? And then a couple of last categories. Purpose. A lot of you on your proposal, this came up a lot, are kind of forgetting the purpose. Remember, the purpose is to teach professors how to use something that they can then ask their students to use. So you want to assign students to use it. Remember, the problem is that they want students to use more technology in the classroom because they want students to be more prepared for a tech-heavy work environment, but they feel self-conscious about assigning it to students because they don't know how to use it or they don't even know about these programs. So your purpose is to teach professors to use something that they can use with students. Some of you guys in your proposals are kind of saying students can use this or teachers can use this, and it needs to be clear that you're thinking about the purpose. You submitted a proposal for this assignment where you said, here's the problem, an instructional video about this program as the solution to that problem, and you need to keep in mind as you're making the video that your video is supposed to be solving that problem. And just as a side note, related to that, I wrote on lots of proposals and on lots of design plans that remember that your goal is not to convince people to use the program, not just to convince them, though that can be mixed in there, but to teach them to use it. Okay, so you don't want to be like, this program is great, check out how awesome this program is, look how cool it is. That's not an instructional video, right? So it can be, look how awesome this program is, let me explain to you how to do Y, and it's so cool to do Y, and this is how you can use Y, and now let me teach you how to do X, right? But the teaching how to do it is an integral part of an instructional video, and it shouldn't just be like, wow, look how cool this is, okay? So that's why I got nervous with some of your guys' explanations of how long you were going to spend on an overview. Make sure that this is an instructional video, that the instructions are clear, the visuals are clear, the transitions are clear, the organization is clear, and that you have an engaging voice throughout the whole thing, and that this is for something that teachers can use to make their students do something, okay, with this technology. Okay, so when you're saying students can use this, that's awesome. But that's my next category. Remember that the audience is a teacher, is a professor. So another category you're going to be graded on is remembering that this is for professors. Yes, students are going to use this, but your video audience is a professor. So everything should be appropriate and professional and all of that for a professor. And in keeping in mind that most professors are not very tech savvy, so make sure that you don't use really heavy tech jargon for professors who don't know what that means, okay? So, so those two categories are purpose and audience, all right? And they're very, very tied together. Who are you doing this for, and why are you doing it for them, right? And then the last two categories are production value. I'm not expecting like a hugely high quality video, and I'm not expecting you to be like getting an Academy Award for director, but it does need to feel like professional in whatever way that means. Even if you're using PowerPoint or a screen recording, it needs to feel like you put effort into this, and like if this was at the workplace, we would feel comfortable passing it around to people who don't know you, right? And would still not feel embarrassed by this, right? That's basically what that means. Like, it seems like you put effort into it, and it would be something that would be comfortable to pass around a company or comfortable to pass around FIU. By production value, I'm not saying you need to use 6 programs to make this video. What I'm saying is it needs to not be messy or sloppy or feel thrown together. And I think that's a reasonable expectation no matter what software you're using to make the video. And then lastly, overall is a catch-all for the requirements on the rubric. Like, it needs to be more than 5 minutes long. It has to have an introduction. It has to have transitions. There's a bunch of things like that that I mentioned on the assignment sheet, that this is where I would count off if you miss something like that, like it's only 3 minutes long or something like that. So make sure that you are reading over the assignment sheet and reading over the rubric as you create your video. I think these are reasonable expectations for every video that would be produced in a professional workplace, no matter what program you're going over or no matter what program you're using to make the video. All right, and then as a footnote, I just want to say the 2 things coming up, I'm going to back off because I want to give you enough time and space to make this video. If I were really hands-on in an online environment, that means more assignments, more videos, more trying to help you through this. There's no way for me to help you through this without asking you to write me stuff and writing back to you and then asking you to write. And in lieu of doing that, I want to back off and give you the space and the time to make the video. However, a side effect of that is that you might feel like I'm kind of not doing anything and kind of ignoring you. But that's not the case. I am here if you have any questions. I am responding to emails all day long. Just send me an email if you have a question. If anything, we can chat about it on the phone or via Skype. I am here for you, but I want to give you space and time to make the video. The 2 things coming up are, on Wednesday, you do have an assignment where you're going to give me a progress report. You should have started making the video by then, but on Wednesday, you're going to have a progress report. When you open the assignment, there's a small video explaining how to do a progress report, and then you're going to do a progress report explaining the progress you've made so far. That's a real document that you will probably have to turn in at some point in the professional workplace, so it's good to learn how to do that. All right, and then separate from that, coming up towards the end of the week, towards when this assignment is due, I'm going to send out a video that's explaining the next thing that you're going to turn in and how I want you to turn in the video so that we can do the next assignment using the video a little bit. I haven't gone over that yet, and I don't want to freak you out, but you'll be asked to turn in your video in 2 places. So keep an eye out for that video. So progress report and then a video to watch over the weekend right before this is due. But other than that, this week I'm going to leave you alone so that you can work on the video. Okay? Let me know if you have any questions. I'm really here for you. Happy creating, okay?